This is a HausHill original podcast.
Yeah, this album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. It's all good, baby, baby. See you chunks on top.
Thou shalt not hate.
It was all a dream.
I like to ask because I find that most people won't tell me that they can't understand what I'm saying. They don't realize that there are many days when I can't understand what I'm saying either. So I like to make people feel more comfortable by asking. Now I realize that some of you are going to be uncomfortable looking at someone like me because I'm so vastly different from you. And you might find yourself wanting to chuckle or laugh. Do so. It's fine. It's very normal. It happens all the time. We always are most uncomfortable with that is very different from us. I tell you this really in preparation for the fact that periodically I might look at one of you all and start to chuckle too. I'm getting married in 2 weeks to a wonderful man. I met him at work. I work at an old folks home, and they tend to put people like me to work in the old folks home so that the old folks don't feel so bad about dying. Now, I met him because he was staring at me. Now, I'm used to that because I'm very stare-attable. But he was staring in a different way. You know that kind of look that people give you when your back is to them, you can feel them, and then you turn around and then they're not looking at you. That's what he was doing. So I thought, oh, I know how to take care of this. So I tippy-toed up behind him so that when he turned around, this is what he saw. Well, I think it threw him so bad because he didn't talk to me for a week after that. But when he finally came up to me, he said, hi. And I said, well, it's about time, hi. He said, well, I don't know whether you realize it or not, but I've been staring at you. I said, well, yes, I noticed that. You see, I'm physically disabled, not blind. And he said, well, I was trying to figure out how to come up and ask you to go to dinner with me. And I said, well, that's so nice. That's so nice that you want to do that, but no, thank you. And he said, what? And I said, no, I don't want to go to dinner, but thank you for asking. And he said, why not? And I said, well, it's just not something I do. And he said, come on, why? And I said, well, because you notice my head is at an angle. And sometimes if I put food in my mouth, it doesn't always stay in there. Now, if you're the person sitting across from me and you're seeing all this food fall out of my mouth constantly, I think it would be a little disconcerting. So I find it easier to eat alone. And he said, oh, well, what about a napkin? And I said, listen, what time are you picking me up for dinner? And he said 9 o'clock, and we said fine. So I went home, and I forgot he was coming because we talked about this so early in the day. So I got home and I did what I always did all my chores, I cleaned up everything, I paid my bills, and I changed my clothes, put my pajamas on, sat down and watched Law and Order. Now, as I watched, I was having a great time with it, and the doorbell rang. So I got up and answered it and opened the door, and there he was. And he took one look at me, and I looked at him, and he walked away. And I thought, well, that took care of that. About 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang again, and I got up to open it, and there he was, in his pajamas. And he said, are you ready to go? And I said, yeah. So off we went to dinner in our pajamas. We had a great time. He's silly. He's wonderfully silly. Anybody who would go to dinner in their pajamas has a great style, but he also has a very peculiar sense of humor. He told me this joke. A horse walks into a bar. The bartender says, why the long face? He laughed for 20 minutes after he told his joke. See, I never got it. But I thought anybody who could tell a joke that bad with that much panache was somebody I should know. So we sat and we talked and we laughed. And as I told him what happened, food kept falling out of my face. But just as he had mentioned, napkin was right there to catch it. So we became friends and we started spending a lot of time together. And so when he came to me and said, listen, I'm going out tonight, I didn't think anything of it. Until he said, look, I'm going dancing tonight. And I said, great, have a great time. And he said, but I want you to go with me. And I said, as what? And he said, as my date. And I said, are you kidding? And he said, no, why? I said, why? He said, yeah. I said, look, you don't notice anything here? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, let me point out that this is not a disco body. And then he said, why not? And I couldn't think of an answer. So I said, what time are you picking me up? So he came and he took me dancing. I went dancing. I had a great time. Look, I was out there. I was having the greatest time. I was moving all over the place. Now, I fell a couple of times, but I made it look like it was part of the dance. And one day he came and he said, listen, I have a friend who has a house at the beach and a pool. I said, let me stop you. I don't go to the beach, I don't go to pools, I don't have a bathing suit. He said, look, let's talk about it in the car. I have to go buy a Speedo. So I said, okay. So we went to Susie's swimsuit shop. And when I walked in, you should have seen the look on Susie's face. I saw it. So I bought a bikini. And of course he said, well, now you have the bathing suit, you have to go. And I said, all right, I'll go in a way that I can be comfortable. So I went out and I bought a big bathrobe with a hood. Now it turns out that the day of this party, it was 1 million degrees out. So there I am sitting in this giant terry-cloth bathrobe, sweating and sweating, praying that the cool breeze would come. It never did. So I had to take the bathrobe off. And nothing happened. Nothing. The sky didn't open up. Nobody keeled over. Nothing happened. They looked and said, oh, and went on about their business. And I thought, why didn't I ever do this before? I mean, can you imagine? I'd never, ever had the sun on my skin before. Not like that. I mean, it was all on my skin. It's pretty amazing, I have to say. I was out there a little too long, though. Because, yeah, no, I was. Because I ended up with tan lines. They go this way, and then they go... And at the end of the day, we were sitting. And he looked over at me, and he said, come on, is it hard for you? And I said, is what hard for me? He said, well, all of that. I said, no, it's not hard for me. It's harder on other people, I think. I think people are sometimes so nervous about me. They think if I touch them, they're going to wake up like this tomorrow. It makes it a little difficult to make friends sometimes. But no, I have lots of life in my mind. I dream a lot. I dream about all kinds of things. And he said, like what? I said, well, sometimes when I dream that my hip is straight. I dream that my shoulder is down and my arm and my forearm and my wrist and my fingers are movable. I dream that my neck and head are straight. And that straightens out my vocal cords. Pretty much I'm dreaming that I'm normal like everybody else. Sometimes I dream that I can wave goodbye to two different people going off in two different directions at the same time. Sometimes I dream that I can conduct an orchestra. Sometimes I dream I'm Cheetah Rivera in West Side Story. La 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 America. But more often than not, I dream that people see me as a person and not as a thing. And I know that when I'm done dreaming, I'm going to wake up And that when I wake up, I'm going to wake up as myself, which is all right too, because I'm a pretty good person. So no, it's not hard for me. And he said, oh. And something about the way he said, oh, just made me feel like I should probably slow this friendship down. And I decided I was going to tell him that when I saw him the next day at work. So when I walked in, he came running up to me. And he said, I have to talk to you. I said, oh, fine, I got to talk to you too. He said, no, me first. I said, go ahead. And he looked at me, and he said, you're my best friend. Marry me. And I said, see, that's why you should let me go first. And he said, what do you mean? I said, what are you doing? Why are you saying that, marry you? He said, because I love you. I said, no. Come on, you made a bet with somebody, didn't you? Who could make the crippled girl feel something? He said, no. I said, then you have a new reality show that you're putting together. Who wants to marry a crip? And he looked at me like I had struck him in the face. And he said, what are you talking about? You're my best friend. I love you. There is nobody like you. I can find all kinds of people who have it on the outside, but to find one in a million that has it on the inside, why should I let people drag me backwards when I can go forwards with you? I've never met anybody like you. I've never met anybody who could have food fall out of their mouth and make it look like poetry. I never met anybody who could fall down on the dance floor and get up and then have everybody around them falling down on the dance floor too. Come on, he said, marry me. I said, you haven't thought this out, obviously. Don't you know what people are going to be saying? Don't you know the kind of little snickers they're going to have behind your back? Don't you know what they're going to call you? He said, of course I know. They call me that now. Doesn't matter to me. I want to be with you. I want to take care of you. I want you to take care of me. I want to make love with you. I want to see the light. I said, wait. Let's back up to. I said, what was that thing you said before? He said, what, I want to make love to you? I said, I just wanted to see if you'd say it again. He said, I'll say it 1,000,000 times. And I said, look, it's not going to happen. And I started to leave when a little voice in the back of my mind said, whoa, hold up here for a second. How many proposals of marriage do you think you're going to be getting? Especially from somebody who loves you and somebody whom you love. You might want to rethink this one. And I looked at him, and I walked over and I said, listen, are you absolutely sure? He said, positive. I said, and you're serious? He said, like a heart attack. And I said, well, that's pretty serious. So, okay, yes, I will. So I'm getting married in 2 weeks to this wonderful man. Now, if you're around and you want to come to a slamming party, you need to come to this wedding because we're having a disco pool party.
This is a HausHill original podcast.